right, welcome back. It's the Jack and Jared podcast. It's May 11th, beautiful day. I'm on summer break, so I'm happy. Jack got a haircut, so he's probably happy too, or maybe his
I'm
job
feeling
interview.
good.
Who knows? But something I'm super interested in that I'm glad that Jack brought it up this week is gamification. So why do I like gamification? I feel like it motivates me always. So some examples of gamification that are so obvious that they get me doing stuff is Fitbit. I have a Fitbit right here. When it vibrates to tell me I hit my step goal every day, I don't know why, but my nipples go hard. No, I get excited though. I'm like, this is awesome. It feels good. You get badges. Have no idea what half the badges mean, but I feel good when I get the badges. And that's
And
like
this is
a great example of gamification that I enjoy.
yeah, and this is happening throughout multiple industries. So there's this company called Prize Pool, and what Prize Pool does is think of it as a savings account. But instead of you earning this really small amount of interest, which right now is like a quarter of a percent, you get for each day you have your deposit there, you get tickets. And at the end of the month or every week, they do raffles. And so some people may not win anything, but other people, instead of earning like $1 or two in interest, they can earn $50, $100, $1,000.
What do you
So
have
there's
to
like stuff
do to get the money? I don't.
you just put your money there, and it's an FDIC insured account, so it's completely safe. You're
What's it
just
gamifying though? What's it gamifying? I don't get like what are.
instead of getting interest, instead of parking your money in a typical savings account with a big bank and getting a quarter of a percent interest for holding it there, you get raffle tickets. It's a game. It's
Oh,
a
so
lottery.
it's gamifying banking.
Exactly.
Got it.
But I'm
Got
just
it.
saying gamification is happening
Got it.
throughout everything. Like
Right.
the opportunity to be either like win or like be a part of like a contest or lottery, like yeah,
So
it's proliferating.
another area that it's definitely expanding to is education. So I didn't do it too many of the new innovations when I was teaching high school, but I gamified a class of mine. I was teaching business economics, and basically when you came to class, you got $1. That was your salary for attending. If you wanted to sit down in class, it's 50 cents. That's your rent. If you had a job in class, like passing out papers or whatever, that was 10 cents, whatever. So everyone kind of had a role, and you learned economics while you just participated in the class. I think it went really well. I enjoyed it. The kids enjoyed it. Some kids wouldn't sit the whole class because they wanted to save money. Other kids didn't care about the money. There ended up being an illegal black market, like in the cafeteria, of kids like trying to take other people's money. It was awesome. The thing that I guess sucked or made it difficult was completely correlating or aligning it with the curriculum. I feel like my students were learning so much, but it was a little bit off, and I had to relate it to the curriculum that I had to teach, and that was really difficult and time consuming. So I wasn't able to do it the entire year, but the results were phenomenal.
Yeah, and there are companies doing this with reading and learning different languages, where it's some type of like almost video game, where like in
Mm-hmm.
order to like advance, you have to whatever. They do this a lot with like coding, like you solve a certain
Yep.
problem, or say with a word, or write something out, or whatever it is. Um,
Why do you think this is
and
happening a lot?
it's there is a strong capitalistic force to get people to either be looking at your page, your company, or using them, parking money with them, doing like something with them, and so uh, there's just an incentive for things to be more and more attractive. And the way they become attractive is like games of chance, games of luck and skill, and otherwise like viral content, or at least ways to get people excited. So I think it's just like a natural force to try to get people to look at their phones more, or just online, the internet.
Yeah, do you think I guess I'm going to relate it to like business or to the workplace. Like, do you think workers aren't motivated anymore by just like
I think
performing?
we can't I don't think it's ever fair to make such a sweeping statement about such a big group of people. There are plenty of people that will and are working tremendously hard, and there's other people that will just try to float by or do whatever. It's always a mixed bag. I don't think it's yeah.
What makes the difference between work and a game? What makes something like a game? Because like to me, part of me thinks like I could like life is kind of a game, and like business is kind in general is kind of a game.
I
I
think a
know.
scorecard. I think I think there has to be some type of way to measure things and like reward or punish behavior. And like you could think of maybe as like your salary and bonus and keeping your job as a scorecard, but that's too it needs to be more immediate in order to like consistently engage people. So I think by nature of like when things are gamified, it's a more a quicker elicit like yes, no, you win or lose, whatever.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that's what's doing it.
Yeah, I think to me KPIs, key performance indicators. Do you think that would be like, I guess, the baseline to start with trying to gamify something? You think of your KPIs that people want to hit, then you have like different measures of it, of succeeding, exceeding, mastering, whatever, and it's essentially like a way to track KPIs. But I feel like to me, the gamification would be part of it would be like having a prize for it, whether the prize is either just a picture, like a badge or something. And then also like making the user experience just a little bit more like graphic and play. But I feel like if you have a good boss or you have a boss who just has his expectations are clear, you have your mid-year evaluation, your end-of-year evaluation, you have your metrics that you're supposed to hit, they're very clear. It's kind of a gamified performance.
Yeah, well, for companies, or especially for startups, uh, your KPIs, you have to be right on what those KPIs are. And what I mean by that is,
Mm.
so KPIs could be anything from like amount of time spent on a screen, how many clicks the person goes through, whatever other like interactions it has with like the post or your content or whatever else. Like for us, there's a lot of information about the time of orders and what our fastest, what our on-time rate was for the various orders. And there's a lot of information. And what you think is like the numbers that you're going after may not really be the growth levers. So even though you could be chasing these like 100% customer satisfaction or on-time rate or whatever you think you're getting after with the KPIs. Uh, if you're not like dead set right on it, because you need to find like literally that one thing that's going to get the company going, then that mistake is going to be extremely costly. And then there's also this thing of like vanity metrics, like this idea of like things that seem like a good thing, like it's associated like the KPI looks like it's in your favor, whether it's like a very high retention rate or uh, lifetime value of the customer, whatever it is. But in reality, it's just something that doesn't actually contribute to the flywheel or pull a
Mm.
lever or get the business going.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. I hope this isn't too far out from left field, but I'm definitely about to turn this a bit. What do you think about gamifying things that the person playing the game doesn't 100% know what they're doing? So I'm going to give you two scenarios. I'm going to give you one that's normal or normal to society, and then one that I am more interested in that you might be like, no, we're not talking about that. But basically, if you set children up in a game to learn, and is it morally okay to do that if you're not telling them that they're doing it to learn? So like you're telling them they're just playing a game, and they think they're just playing a game, but
Well,
what they're really doing is learning whatever it might be. So I think it's okay to do that, but I guess the question of morality is like, do you need to tell them it's okay to do that, or is it just okay to do that without telling them? And then the other scenario brings up, it's a similar scenario, but it's a lot more like drastic or whatever, is Black Mirror. I don't know if you've seen that TV series. I love that TV series.
yeah,
There's a episode in it where the guy is killing these goblins or something in the game, and it's a game. He's like an army game, and
yeah.
he's killing the goblins. And little do they know that it's not a game; it's real life, and those goblins are the enemy of this like real war. So similar concept of like when people are playing games, do they have to know that it's a game that they're in, or is it okay to just set them up?
Ender's Game. This was the
Hmm.
like main one of the main components of Ender's Game, which is a great book. Uh,
Never read it. I'll check it out.
so what's the difference between like small lies or like small gamifications of kids and like what we already do with like holidays and like Christmas and Santa Claus and like the Tooth Fairy and like whatever other things that like these are cultural norms or whatever that we influence behavior and there's whatever in return for it. Like it's like we're already influencing behavior in other ways. So as long as it's like directed towards like an influence of good and like positivity, then uh, I don't think you need to necessarily tell the kids, but like you can't
What
like raise a kid who like
I
doesn't
could
understand the world.
I could definitely see war getting gamified then. I mean, I hate to go like so far out, but like I know this isn't true, but just to like show the point, what if when you're playing a video game, that video game's controlling real bombs somewhere?
Um,
Like
like you're not suggesting like an Xbox game is doing this right now,
I'm not saying
right?
I'm not saying it's doing it right now, but I'm saying hypothetically in the future, who's to say that might not be what happens? Or like if you don't know when you're playing the game, people might set you up into doing these things.
But they
Um,
wouldn't set you up, right? Like they would set like someone that's capable of doing the job up because at the end of the day, like they're not
well,
playing that game just to play that game. They want to like make sure something happens
right
to the
now,
best.
right now, a lot of the military is done by drones though, and like
Yeah.
done by unmanned aircraft. So like when you're my friend is actually like a drone analyzer. He doesn't drive the drone, but he like analyzes where they go, what they do, and all of that. So he was just doing some training last week. When he's doing this training, does he know that the drones are actually in training territory and not in like enemy territory? He's just doing what he's told, right? And he thinks it's a training, but like who's to say that it actually is? He might just be doing something that is I don't know.
Yeah. Uh, it's I think that's probably a likely situation to occur in the future.
Yeah, I guess it's a little scary. What are some places where you would want to see gamification happen first and like where you would enjoy it?
Education.
Education.
Education. Like you can hook little kids. I heard a really interesting idea from I forget who it was, but it
Did
was
you
basically
forget you
saying,
don't have hair? I saw you try and stroke your hair.
I know, it's still so fucking weird. I like it's so much space around my head.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
you look like a
So
different person.
I feel like a different person. I hadn't
Yeah.
cut my hair in 16 months.
Dang.
Um, but education would be where you'd want to see gamification enter the most. Oh, this is the idea was you get like think about how do I want to say this? Well, they're basically saying like you don't need 20,000 teachers anymore, or however many is 100,000, 200,000, a million. I don't know how many teachers we have.
Hmm.
Uh, you just need a couple dozen amazing teachers, throw them on online,
Hmm.
and then have that be the primary source of education, and then have like tutoring
Like
like
high
set up.
schoolers, 18 year
Yeah,
olds. Yep.
yeah, and that's
I
all
agree
you would really
100%.
need. You could And it was really a crazy idea because what wasn't said, but at the same time was being suggested, just like you could get rid of 95% of or 90% of the teacher's force.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm a proponent for that, and I'm a teacher. A lot of teachers would be against that and be like, "Oh, that's not possible," because
Yeah, because they took your
they
jobs.
want to save their job. But it's like, no, most teachers are not doing too much. And I agree. Like, if you get a really effective teacher, that effective teacher can do more virtually than most teachers can do in person. And I like that you also mentioned too, you can't get rid of 100% of people in person, but you can do 90% of it virtually, cut 90% of the teachers, and have volunteers just like fill in the gaps of some students who need the extra hands on. I agree with that completely. And I
Like
think,
imagine if you did this type of system. So you are a high school kid and you cannot afford college. You're gonna have to take out a loan. What if there was a government program where you were one of those volunteer tutors and that was your way of earning like scholarship or scholarship money where the state would pay for your education?
yep, it could solve so many problems. It could solve problems of being schools. I don't think you learn in school. I hate to say it as a teacher, most kids aren't learning in school. They're like they're learning how to follow rules. They're not learning like great education, great like how to think and all of that. A lot of kids at school are also in a dangerous environment. So like not only are you not learning, you're also somewhere where it's literally not as safe as it is to just be at home. So those two things alone make me think that virtual proposal should be done ASAP. Now, something that makes me confident, teachers are never going to do that or be proponents of that. But what I do think might happen is this year, I think there's going to be a heavy shortage of teachers because a lot of teachers are having anxiety going back to the classroom. They just don't want to. A lot are saying like, no, it was better virtually. I can't do it in person again. A lot are when they go back to the classroom are like, screw this. I can't do this. I don't want to do it anymore. So I think there's going to be a heavy shortage of teachers next year. And I think what would be great is you have some innovative leaders propose things like that. What like now is as good a time as any to do drastic changes. And hey, why not like maybe a couple places will try and do something like that next year and could show the rest of the country the way.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like if you think of it like pro sports, where you have like right now like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Joel Embiid, like these just like in the NBA, like these top players. You don't necessarily need like thousands of really good players if they can do the job of like 80% of the education.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot can be done just by captivating content. You're telling me a teacher going up to the chalkboard and like doing that work where they're in front of the whole classroom is that like structurally different than it just being on a screen?
Right.
Like you're gonna need someone who's like there, but like there's a lot of times where it's not individual attention. It is just like big person. You can't be answering like every question on the spot. Like there needs to be some flow to it. Why can't that be done online? Why can't we just get those LeBron James of teaching to, carry that weight?
Especially if it's gamified, students will be more engaged. I don't like screens too much for kids, but like that's what they want. Why not have them on screens where they can be more engaged and actually like then possibly learn something instead of just wasting time outside of it. After education, what's the next industry you'd like to see gamification?
Geez.
I feel like
I don't
fitness
know.
it
What's
makes a
the
lot of sense.
Yeah, but it's already being done in fitness. What
Step
is that what you would say?
I would say fitness and like similar to fitness, but I would say like eating and nutrition. It'd be cool if you like if it I track my eating and stuff, but it's not that fun to track, I guess, because you have to like put it in. So I guess like eventually it'd be nice if it's automatically tracking what I'm eating. I think I'll be a little bit more motivated. But that's something that the gamification hasn't helped me too much yet, is the nutrition part.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then how would you implement gamification into your business? Would you do it in like if you had a new startup or your old startup? would you have gamification incorporated in some components?
Um, I think there's a lot of really cool ideas that you could do if you could, uh, if you weren't really like bootstrapped. So like if you're
Mm-hmm.
actually like growing employees, you just did like a really good like seed or series A round and you're at that point. I think there's things that you could do where people post just like things that like happen in their lives, like birthdays and weddings and whatever. Uh, and when someone like does well, or whatever it is, like maybe they helped out someone else or maybe they went like above and beyond, whatever, it's just like these small non-monetary but like also gifts that happen sporadically. And
Mm-hmm.
there's this book by uh, Daniel Pink, called Drive, and it's like the secret of
Mm-hmm.
like motivation. And one of the things that he talked about is one of the ways to keep people motivated is not always to have like the big bonus check in front of them. It's because that becomes one of the reasons it becomes so singularly focused. But if you throw out random bonuses that are like personal for that person,
Mm.
uh, uh, because they do things, it's a way to continue to like incentivize and encourage and show appreciation.
I
So I
like
think
that.
like things like that, and like additionally with culture, you want it to be like, oh, like you and the boyfriend are going away. Like here's I don't know, a gift card to this place, or here's $50 in Uber credits to spend, or here's $50 in Airbnb, or whatever it is, and like people appreciate that because, and then you're building like a connection with them, and I think that's where culture comes from. You have to build a connection with people. You have to show that like you care, and so like I think that's one way you could gamify it, where it's not really gamified. It's just showing appreciation and care and being generous because that 25 $50 like token of appreciation you're going to give out, you're going to get like hundreds of dollars in goodwill and like that person going above and beyond for the company later.
Definitely, I agree. I think I feel like we're gonna see gamification happen in more like workplaces. Just a little funny comment I just thought of was I feel like the Amazon truck drivers are playing Crazy Taxi when they're driving around the city. So I feel like they're already gamified with running around throwing packages everywhere. Because they're
Yeah, or they just like hurling them around where you are.
dude, it's insane. They like sometimes they throw it from the truck. Like yeah, it's wild. It looks like it's a game. It looks fun, but not if it's your package being thrown. Pretty funny. But that's about all I have to say about gamification. You have anything you want to wrap up or anything you want to share from the week?
No, I'm all set. This was fun. You
Nice.
got anything else?
I got, I guess, one little thing to share. It's not like like crazy fact or anything, but I'd be interested to see if you've heard of it. Have you heard of Cameo?
Continue.
It's this app that you can hire famous people to do
Oh
like
yeah,
shout outs and stuff and whatnot. I
do
think
cameos.
yeah, you do cameos. I think I love businesses like that where like it seems to me it's a win-win-win for everyone. There's no one to me seemingly getting like a bad deal. So I've gotten it twice now. I got one guy like was no one I've ever heard of. He's some like weightlift bodybuilder with like 30,000 Instagram fans. I got him for my brother for a happy birthday just to have someone random. He's cheap. And then I just had Alan Houston give a congrats to a big Nick fan friend of mine. But I love Cameo. I think it's a cool app. So many people are available on it. It's not too expensive. I know you're only paying for like a minute of time, but it's not too expensive. I feel like the celebrity is like enjoys doing it to an extent, and it's a pretty cool little app. And then funny, just to relate to business, I heard a couple months ago someone got Carol Baskin to say a stock that she bought, and it was like a penny stock. And then the guy put that video on TikTok, and then the penny stock skyrocketed, and someone made a lot of money. But a lot of scams you can do with that, I'm sure.
That's wild.
Yeah, pretty cool. But who would you have cameo you if you could pick anyone?
Oh damn, that's a good question. Uh, who would you pick?
I don't know. I feel like Snoop Dogg would definitely be just a cool person to like say what's up.
I think Matthew McConaughey would be like the coolest to
That'd be
like just
super
get like
cool.
a 30-second like what's up, man.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna look if they're available. Maybe we'll get them to do a hello on our podcast.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We got a special guest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thanks for everything, Jack. Great talking to you as always. And well, actually, to end the show, to tell all our viewers, we're having a gamification of our content sharing. So you guys hearing it first, Jack and I have to share content on TikTok. We have some gamified rules set to that and money and all of that. So be on the lookout. Hope you enjoyed our show. Hope you enjoy us. Hope there's someone we're talking to. And as always, have a good one. We'll see you guys next week.